of background about me. You read some things, I guess, that Jason sent out. One of the biggest things is that I'm turning 65 this year, and in my family, nobody lived past 42 to 45. They were all bald at 26. They were all broken up at 40, 42 years old. They were old people. Now, it is not genetic to when somebody feeds you this line of garbage. It's not genetic. It is socio-economic, familial eating patterns. You're a brand new being every 16 to 18 months. Every 4 days, you have a new stomach lining. Every 28 days, you grow a new layer of skin. Every 16 to 18 months, you have a brand new body. So do you want to be a ho-ho and a ding-dong? Or do you want to be a lean, mean protein machine, okay? Everybody thought they knew about exercise. At 14 years old, they were going to cut my heart out and put a pig valve in me, and I didn't go for it. They said, okay, we're going to cut your heart out, you're going to be fine, we're going to put this pig valve in your heart, and you ought to be good to go. And I said, whoa, wait a minute, excuse me, Doc. I said, I got a question for you. I said, isn't there anything else you can do with the pig's valve? He goes, yeah, no problem. I said, how long will I give me? He said, oh, it'll give you 6 to 10 years. I said, 6 to 10 years? Not. I said, isn't there something else you can do? He said, well, maybe in 6 to 10 years we'll have new technology. And this is how I know there's a greater force than all of us, because his voice spoke to me to tell him, and I said to that doctor, Doc, suppose the technology is that I wasn't supposed to have had the pig valve, then where am I? Okay? The same procedure that I was going to have at 13 and 14, I'm now 65, they're doing the same procedure today. Same procedure. I just consulted a guy 2 weeks ago. Understand that what I'm about to tell you, that when I understand this, where my healing came from was from a spiritual source. It didn't come from the civilized people in the world. It came from an uncivilized group of people. It came from indigenous knowledge. It came from an American native medicine man and a curandero, which is in the Hispanic culture a medicine man. And if you look around the world, you find that indigenous people know more about the spiritual realm and more about natural healing than any person who's gone to the educated and civilized world. I'm going to give you something to think about before I get into this much farther. And I'm not knocking anything, but I want you all to know that what my job in life is to change your thinking. You know, my psychologist used to say, Bert has to get up in the morning every morning, and be up enough to get people up enough, to get results enough, to come back enough, to make business enough. I was doing private coaching before the word ever came out. I was in the first article with Lou Ferrigno in the National Fitness and Trade Journal. One of the first 4 people doing personal training. I hate that word. I'm not a trainer. I'm not a personal strainer. I'm not a pocket drainer or any of that other stuff that sounds like it. And exercise today, you're going to see, has no benefit whatsoever in producing health. You're going to find out today that it is a stress. It is a stimulus. It is a trigger to bring about a hopeful, positive response. And there are factors that other people haven't figured. And I've been blessed enough to have a pattern analysis type recognition in my small brain that has been able to see what worked and what didn't work. You need to understand that I work with stage 3 and stage 4 cancer, and in 6 weeks it has disappeared from the body. Disappeared. Gone. You can go on my website, you can check it out. You can check out some of my clients. And here's the thing, all you've got to do is change all the intracellular fluid and extracellular fluid, balance out the nutrients, and your body works. That's all it is. You're an electrical, chemical being. Chemical being, nutrients that are attracted by an electrical force field at the ionic state. Okay? So, what we need to realize is very simple. We need to stop our limited beliefs. That's what I am as a coach. My job is to take your limited beliefs and help you to exceed them. And I'm going to give you one of the greatest minds in the world's famous quotes. Albert Einstein said, "The only thing that hinders my learning is my education." Now, if you think you're going to come to a school, this school or any other school, and you're going to learn something, you are. You're going to learn what's in the box. You're going to learn what's old for 10 to 12 years. And you're going to learn what the perceived way to do it is. What I learned with exercise is that none of that was right. I was fortunate enough to have a fellowship and being able to go to the Nautilus Center and work with Arthur Jones himself, the man that invented the Nautilus and then MedX. I helped to train Casey Vidator for the 78 Universe. I'm an accomplished bodybuilder myself. I've competed at 5'3", at 200 pounds at 3% body fat, and I worked out for 20 minutes 3 days a week. You can either work out hard or you can work out long, but you won't work out very long, very hard. Now, one of the things that I want you to understand is that you cannot get a person well with medicine until you address the spirit. We're a three-part man. We're a spirit. Even the law of every land says that is the animating force that produces life within the person. When the spirit leaves, there is no life. So the spirit comes first when the sperm meets the egg. Then the body is formed, and then the brain starts to set in. And when the brain sets in, it is the liar justifier. It is the part that actually has the lies and the perceptions and what it perceives, but not necessarily the truth. So we're going to talk about some of that today. So we are a spiritual being on a spiritual journey in a physical body. Got that? We're a spiritual being, that's our force, our life force, the animating force, in a physical body to do a spiritual journey, learn spiritually. And until you start to understand that that spirit is life and an electrical force, who here can tell me where the life is contained in what organ in the body? Can anyone tell me that? The heart? No, you can take the heart out, you can use a mechanical heart. Where's it at? Where's the life at in the body? Where? No, you can take the brain out and the body will keep going and the heart will pump and everything else. What's the only thing? Come on, you're medical students. I didn't graduate from high school. Tell me, where is the life force in the body? No. All the way you're wrong. Okay, you ready? No, it's the senile gland. No. No, here's our thinking again, folks. You've got to get out of the box if you're going to learn. Get out of the box. You ready?
Yeah.
It is in the blood. You cannot replace the blood with anything. The life force is contained in the blood. By the way, there's a spiritual book that says the life of the body is in the blood. And you can take anything out of a human being and get it to work with something mechanical except the blood. And that means that that's where that electrical charge is. That's where that force field is. That's the energy that everybody talks about, woo-woo. You know, when I went to Pine Top, Arizona, I lived for a while, they said, oh, we've got all these healers up here. I said, really? And I met all these healers. And then I realized they met those little Australian cattle dogs. Because they didn't know what they were talking about. So I'm going to ask you all to go on a journey with me right now, okay? I want you all to really try and get a hold of this. We're in Africa. It's early morning. You're waking up and you're a lion. You're an adult male lion and you're waking up. You're waking up and you're stretching and you think, food. I need food. There's some little warthogs. Perfect, I can get them. No. If I eat those warthogs, those babies, it's going to take so much effort, I'm not going to be sustained afterward to do it again. I only have 1 or 2 attempts every 3 to 4 days. Now, I look around and a gazelle. It's a young one. No, wait. Oh, there it is. A young buffalo. That young buffalo will give me enough of what I need to sustain me and get me through. What did y'all eat this morning for breakfast? How many of you thought about your survival the last time you put that spoon to your mouth? Think about this. Animals are smart enough and they're in the moment enough, like we are not enough, to think about what is going to get them to the next level. And when they exercise pursuing that animal, it's intense, it's violent, and it is brief. There is no animals on the planet of Earth that has the strength that carnivores have pound for pound. And they eat complete protein, not incomplete protein. And everything that I've worked with people, the greatest reward that I have back is that everybody, whether it's HIV, Hep C, cancer, has blood chemistry improvements to prove it in 3 weeks, And we body composition tested every client every week for years to prove they were only gaining lean and losing fat. And there are many survival factors that are all in my book. And my book is got the answers to fitness. It's called The Great Fitness Fraud, and the byline on it is 300 million victims and one program for your defense. It's taken me 40 years of research to get this done. I realize I work with everything. There is no difference for anyone to think that to take an athlete from a beginning level to an intermediate level, or an intermediate level to a professional, there's no difference in that than getting a sick person well. No difference. Isn't it a state of human performance? Is it not?
Yes.
Okay. So has anybody heard anything different today so far? Okay. So let's go on. Let's talk about exercise. Exercise does not cause health. We're a brand new renewable resource. We can change who we are and what we have every day. We can get better no matter where we are. But there's a sequence to that, and there are other things that are very, very important. And the biggest problem we have with exercise today is one word: ego. E-G-O, ego. Edging God out. Edging our creative factors out. Taking what we are made out of and what we do and pushing that aside for saying, well, I believe. Well, when people say I think, that stinks. When they say I feel, I can care. It's usually get us all in trouble. They say I believe. That's usually a perception at best. What we need to do is what the body dictates. So let's go to the misunderstanding part. The misunderstanding part of misperceived. People think that exercise from the 1960s and 1950s is good for you. That's what we were told. Does anybody here work out at an extensive level? If you think you do, you should come down and visit me at my gym. Jason here, when he came to me, saw Special Forces, SEALs, Marine Recon. I was in the Marines, Special Ops. I did a lot of this stuff in Vietnam. I did a lot of stuff after Vietnam. I worked with professional football players, baseball players, bodybuilders, and all the other lower IQs that you can think of. And when I work with certain of the extreme strength athletes, I charge an extra fee because this ego gets in the way. See, ego and intelligence are at opposite ends of the scale. You can't have intelligence and ego together. One supersedes the other. Genetics does not make the difference in sports, ladies and gentlemen. Intelligence does. Because through intelligence, I can take applied facts and I can give them to an individual and move them to a level that the person with the ego and genetics will not go. So what's missing today and why it's so misunderstood is that exercise is only a factor of health. It is a factor. Okay? It is not what makes or creates health. Diet alone can create health. Because we are brand new all the time, we're being replaced. People say to me, well, I don't believe in that much in vitamins and minerals. I said, oh, so you believe the farmer raises that food for your nutrition and not his profit. Okay. And then they say, well, I don't believe in vitamins and minerals. I say, oh, you don't. They don't do anything. I said, really? Well, why don't you try living on toilet paper and water for a month and show me how well you do? No one ever wants to take that up. See, what happens is with exercise, we go by I think, I feel, I like that trainer, I like the way that sounds, I like the way that diet tastes. No, that's an emotional buy-in. Emotional buy-in. What we should be going by is what does the body dictate. Now, if you're going to be a healer and not just a doctor, because a doctor is like, eh. But if you want to really heal people, you'll take into consideration their spirit. I'm going to give you a thought here. Here's something from Hippocrates. Listen to this. This is your career can be right here in the statement. I have no CAT scan. I do no blood test, but every time we send someone, it's always improved. Roger, who's here with me today, went off 7 meds in 2.5 weeks when he came to me. He's never been on them, and he's getting leaner, and has been, and continually seen all these things happen. And it's not about this. And here's the statement. Hippocrates said, it is more important to know what sort of man has a disease than the sort of disease the man has. Now, let's go on from the exercise here. I want to tell you the emotional buying. What's missing is working knowledge. Working knowledge. So here we go. We're going to take a look at exercise versus recreation. Recreation is fun. Enjoy it. Most people think they're exercising. Oh, I like my aerobics class. I like my spinning class. Oh, I go lift every day for an hour and a half. Let me share something with you. I don't see any professional athlete ever make more than 8 minutes in my facility. 8 minutes, and they're throwing up. 8 minutes, and they're throwing up. Properly done resistance exercise gives faster results, produces more lean tissue, which will burn fat faster than cardio. If you're doing extra cardio, you're better off to have 10 pounds of lean muscle and be firm and toned, have denser bones. But exercise, when it's done with resistance training, can produce the fastest, quickest results, and it also causes cardiovascular stimulation. Because if you aren't breathing hard, you aren't working hard. Remember, cardiovascular benefit comes from muscular work. Okay? So we tend to forget and look at all these things so differently than we should. They say, well, if you do resistance training, Bert, you're going to get all muscle bound. Well, I can take right now and put my hands flat on the floor, my knees are locked, and I mean, I'm 65 and I've done resistance training, but I do it properly. See, here's the thing. There's two types of knowledge. There's the knowledge that you will get in reading and getting a degree, and then there's working knowledge, experiential knowledge. This is where I'm telling you, you need to get out of the box. Out of the box. Now, this work is not fun. Exercise is a stress, where recreation relieves stress. We do it for fun and enjoyment. The thing of it is with exercise is that you do extended or prolonged effort. You know, most people are lazy. They don't do anything today even about their health when they come to me, because it takes an effort. And then it takes consistent effort over time. You mean I've got to do something? I got to change something? You want me to do what? Yes. You know, it's like this. You're either going to pay for your health now by an effort, or you're going to pay for it later. And I'm going to tell you, I've never seen people become so spiritual and so willing as when the condition gets so bad. Okay? Man works on two premises, pleasure and pain. Short-term pleasure, you're going to have long-term pain. Short-term pain and effort now, you're going to have pleasure longer down the road. It's not the condition of it's not the vehicle traveling the road of life. The road of life is not tough. It's the condition of the vehicle traveling the road. Okay? And another thing we need to remember is that success will bring motivation in a big way. Success will bring motivation. Motivation does not always bring success. I get a person a little bit of result, man, they're gone. They're running with it. So we look at these things, and Arthur Jones said it the best when it came to exercise. He said, you can either work out hard, or you can work out long. But you won't work out real hard, real long. Think about that. So when we get to this point, we want to now think about the real meaning of the word exercise. Exercise. I trademarked that. Exercise. You see, when you go to do recreation, you put out a little effort. But when you want to really do exercise, it means exceeding the momentary existing level. You've got to try to exceed that momentary existing state. You're trying to trigger a change in the body. Exercise is either productive or non-productive. There's no in between. Oh, I like to do this. Well, good, go recreate. Oh, I like to do that. Okay, go recreate. Did you hear the operative word? I like. When someone comes to work out with me, Jason will tell you, their knees are shaking together, and they're like, oh, what's it going to give me today? But it doesn't continue like that. In fact, once you start to get in shape, you work out hard less often. Because as you create more muscle, it creates more maintenance with the body, which creates more time in between hard workouts, and you do something called a maintenance workout. And it's very easily done. Very easy. Once you understand, my book lays all of this out. And I'm not trying to push my book, but I'll just tell you this. This book is what it took me 40 years to learn. This book is what I needed 40 years ago. You see, when I realized that certifications were worthless, you should be certified insane if you go for one. Yes, you should be certified insane. Stupid if you go to a trainer who's certified. You need help psychologically because your value judgments are way off. Did you know they never train anybody physically? Did you know they're not taught how to apply it? I have exercise physiologists come and work with me, and they go, you just threw my whole education out the window. I go, wait, I didn't do that. What about you looking at it from this perspective, that all I did was change the application? Oh, wow. Remember, out of the box, out of the box. I changed it. I just changed the way they applied it. Okay? So we look at exercise. There is one way that people do exercise for another thing other than change. See, exercise, exert, is to cause change in the musculature, the endurance, or the conditioning. However, it can be done for vanity. Ooh, I got that extra food stored back here, and I got that extra food stored up here. I got that extra energy up here. That's because of excess. When we get into excess or sensation, having that constant hit all the time, we don't think about satiation and just taking what we need. So we keep wanting sensation. We become overindulged, overfueled. That's all it is. Okay? And we can get rid of that. So we can use exercise for that to create lean body mass. Every pound of lean body mass you gain will burn 50 to 100 calories per day while you're sleeping. So why do hours of cardio? That's ridiculous. Spend all that time doing all that boring work. Oh, but I feel good. Well, get your endorphins some other way. Get happy. Okay? But if you want to get exercise effective and efficient, no one needs more than 20 to 30 minutes of exercise 3 days a week. I produce the results that we do with people in 20 to 30 minutes 3 days a week. The average person that I work with past 50 years old has a resting heart rate below 50. They get there within 4 to 6 weeks. They've worked out less than an hour and a half a week. But the biggest change comes from the things that they consume and what they reproduce their body with. So let's look at what exercise causes and what you've never seen usually in your school. Exercise and other things. Disease is dis-ease. How many people saw that before? Dis-ease. Unrest at the cellular level. Imbalance. Imbalance at the cellular level. Unrest. Unrest doesn't mean when you go to bed at night, you don't go to rest. You go to restoration. You see, your blood pressure goes up at night. Your body works at the cell level harder than it did all day. If you don't wake up in the morning, you ready? Revitalized. You didn't have the food or the materials that you needed the day before. So how could your body get restored? So one of the things that I believe in is that, you want those materials on board to be able to cause this to happen. I believe in the expensive urine method. The expensive urine method. It's never failed my clients. What does that mean, expensive urine? It means exactly what it says. If you have the right sources of the right types of supplementation, because it's not in the food today and you can't get it organically, and I'm being glad to prove this with anyone. Anything that I'm saying here today, I'm ready to put money behind and we'll do a study on. I'm saying that you need to take in 10% more than you could possibly need of whatever you need and urinate it out than to have 10% less and be diseased. Am I making sense? Now, if that was my child or your child, I'm going to tell you what, you're going to go the extra. We'll do it for our dogs and cats, but we don't do it for ourselves. One cup of coffee will elevate your heart rate for 36 hours. So go ahead and have it every day. See what you get. I wonder why we have heart disease. The average female that comes to me has a bowel movement every 3 days. Some every day if they're lucky. If you don't have 3 bowel movements a day, you are sick. You are broken if you don't have 3 a day. Okay? Water. You need 4 quarts a day. That's only 4 ounces per waking half hour. Now, I can prove every bit of this. Jason will tell you that we body comp our people every week. I could catch people for 1 cup of coffee off their diet. 1 cup of coffee. 1 portion of carbs that they shouldn't have had, the wrong carbs, starches, gone. See, we should be eating vegetables and complete proteins. So, disease comes from overdraw. So let's talk now about stimulus. Stimulus is a triggering for a response. When you exercise and you push beyond the momentary existing ability, and you really push yourself in an attempt, and you will grow in intensity, and you push yourself to that level, you've triggered the body to cause a chemical reaction. So that's what the exercise did. It caused a stress. What causes the response? Food, nutrients, materials. Okay? There are absolute specifics to this type of stimulus. There's so many repetitions that should be done within so many seconds, one time, and you're done. You're done with your exercise from that whole group. If you push the muscle far enough, it's recruited some of the assisting muscle groups. Literally, I can give you 8 exercises to 10, and it covers your whole body. Jason can tell you how he's experienced this. When you get advanced, I literally get down to 3 to 5 exercises 1 time a week hard. Covers your whole body. You're gaining muscle. Takes about 12 minutes. And we do 2 light workouts to keep the muscles from going backwards, but allowing our internal reserves to build up. It's the reserves we want. It's the response mechanism. So when we exceed that existing level state of ability, we're causing a stress. So we need to have measured, planned types of exercise. We need to engineer the success. What I do when people come and work with this, I engineer their success. How is it that I can work with a person with cancer, put them on an exercise program, they've got stage 3, and in 6 weeks they can't find the disease at all? Go to resultsareproof.com, my website, click on the 50 free videos and start listening, and you'll see what's happening. These people are definitely getting well. So when we go to work with the body and we want to change it, here is the #1 rule. We must do what the body dictates. This is how I have had success with clients. It's nothing that I've done. These things were set in motion by a greater power than me when we were formed or created. I believe that, by the way, I believe that evolution is the slow route of creation. And I believe that creation is evolution at light speed. Okay? Creation is evolution at light speed. So we have to apply those facts, and we have to do what the body dictates. So let's talk about why most programs fail. Why do most programs fail? I think, I feel, I believe, who cares? When a professional athlete comes to me like Terry Francona, who managed the Red Sox, or Tom Waddell when he was second to Willie Hernandez in the Cy Young, or this little girl I've got that's a national champion, when they come to me, do you think they want to hear what I think or feel? No, they want results. Now, pay me. Pay me. Give me my results. If I'm going to pay you, I want the results and I want it now. And I'm kind of like Domino's. I deliver in 30 minutes or less. I didn't say I'm liked. Don't get me wrong. I'm probably one of the most hated individuals you'll ever meet until those results come up. And that's when it starts to pay off. So why are most programs failing? Because of that word ego, edging God out. See, our spirit is intuitive and it's on a higher level. I believe in the boss, as I call him. You can call him whatever you want, but I call him the boss. Okay? Because I don't care what differences we have, it's the boss for all of us. And this is what I believe. That when that spirit comes into me, and I was given it at birth, I can tend to want to listen to that liar justifier, or I can listen to that inner voice, and I can take a look at what animals are doing, and there will be self-evident truth of what I'm talking about, like that lion. That lion had to exercise, but when he exercised, he knew he was going to put out so much that if he doesn't get what he needs when he doesn't, he's dead. Do we see that? Oh, no, I'll just go back to McDonald's. How many people in here this morning actually ate a breakfast that you've planned and you make as a ritual every day? Hold your hand up. The rest of you are in trouble. I'll tell you, one thing Jason can tell you, one thing Roger can tell you when we're done here today. By the way, if you ever would like me to come back and do any lectures, I coach people over the phone long distance, and come back and do a workshop, I'd be glad to do it. I'll tell you this, and I'm not just bragging on him, that man sitting there, Jason, that had me come up here, it's one of my biggest feathers in my cap in 40 years to see a man raise a child the way he has, and for a man to take the stand that he has and to come up here and go to school like he has. And I'll tell you, he's going to be able to apply things that a lot of you will be shocked because he's learned outside the box. That's what got him here. He's doing the formality. He's already done a big portion of learning. I mean, I work with people that have had things like recluse bites. You know, most people will lose a big chunk of the tissue and cut off the arm, have antibiotics that kill the kidneys. I used an herb poultice and fed an herb poultice and fed him an herb tea so that the infection couldn't spread internally. We used electrical muscle stim to cause circulation around the outside. It took 5 weeks, and it looked like a bell pepper hanging on his arm until the cord came out, which looked like a pencil about that long. And his arm to this day doesn't have a scar on it except for what looks like a BB. You know, we have had what we needed here on every continent, what we need for health on that continent. We've had, as I believe, since the book says Genesis 1, my preference, Genesis 1, and it said in the first chapter we were given everything we needed right here. We were also commanded to eat protein, and I've done experiments on protein, which we could get into and share, but let me go on. Let's go on to the next point, nutrition. Nutrition is number one. I see nutrition as 50 to 60% of our success in life. 50 to 60% of who we are. Here's a point. How many people here take multivitamins? Put your hands out. How many people here take a multi-mineral separate? A multi-mineral separate. You take a multi-mineral more than CalMag zinc or just CalMag zinc? CalMag zinc? Yeah. That's not sufficient. I said multi. Let me share something with you. If we were to do an assay on any of you, you'd be 5 to 6% minerals and a 0.5% vitamin. Do you need more minerals or vitamin? Minerals cause every single cellular transference in your body to be utilized. I only have Jason taking 4 times the suggested amount, and it comes from a place where there's all 72 trace minerals plus all the major minerals. When a child has growing pains, they're missing minerals. But most people say, oh no, I've got to be alkaline. I've got to be alkaline. Alkaline, oh yeah. Wrong. Wrong. How are you going to break down alkaline minerals in an alkaline body? Can't do it. You need to have unpasteurized apple cider vinegar every morning and correct the pH in your system until your supplements are down. Then you can go back to alkaline. But the minerals cause every single cellular transference in your body to happen. This is one of the things I've done with everyone. Almost everybody's missing minerals. By the way, what is your hair made out of?
Protein.
Protein. What kind? Complete or incomplete?
Complete.
Complete. What's your skin made out of? Protein. Oh. What's your muscles made out of? Protein. What's your organs made out of?
Protein.
What's your blood made out of?
Protein.
Oh, maybe we should eat a bunch of carbs. Carbs only have a part of protein in them. So eat all that starch. Go ahead and wear it around and like it. Because you asked for it. I'm telling you, everything people get and what they do is there. So you can take a complete protein and it will supply energy and repair. So if you're going to go too heavy on anything, go heavy on vegetables and proteins. Complete proteins. Have you ever seen a fat fish or a fat vegetable? Ain't gonna happen. Okay? Just self-evident. You know, I have people who tell me all the time, oh, Bert, you know, I listen to my body. I go, wow, can I hire you an interpreter? Because it's obvious you don't understand. They said it, I didn't. Okay? So let's look at those So nutrition, quantity, quality, and here's the key that nobody considers, frequency. Until you take care of the blood sugar balancing, nothing will get utilized as it wants to be. Repair will not happen because everything goes for energy storage if you go too long between your meals. And this, Jason can tell you, we body comped it with people who went 3 hours with the same diet and then go back to 2 hours, and the 2-hour people got way more results than when they did the 3 hours. True or not true, Jason?
True.
True. Materials. Now let's talk about time. Time. Time is time between exercise sessions. If you don't go long enough between the exercise sessions, your bodies don't have time to repair, and you don't have time to accumulate enough of that nutrition, especially if you don't have expensive urine, as I talked about. You want adequate nutrition, so you want it there when it's needed all the time. So you want to have it there when it's needed so your body can repair as it's going along, and it takes less time to repair, and time to accumulate enough of that nutrition. And then the last one is exercise, which is your stress. So nutrition is 50 to 60%, time is 30 to 40%, and exercise is 5 to 10%. Think about this. The most muscular people are sprinters, and sprinter animals are more muscular, and they do intense work in a short amount of time, carry the most muscle. The example again is the animals. Okay, so let's talk about some, and when you talk about exercise, how can you know if it was intense enough? Is there a way to measure intensity? Yes. Distance, resistance over time, or your resting heart rate, how high it's elevated the next day. And when that resting heart rate comes back down, you think you're ready, but you're not. You need 48 more hours to allow reserves to build up, not come back to stasis or balance. So let's go on to the next thing. Considerations. Exercise is a cost or a draw off the body. Is there anyone here that sees exercise any differently today? Could you hold your hand up if you see exercise slightly different? Only a couple? Exercise is totally a factor. It is not what makes the result. Your reserves of processed materials being on board in the body prior to the stress of exercise, so that when you exercise, your body can respond then. You don't exercise and say, I'll heal for the next 3 days. That's preparing for the next one. And the example of that is this: scratch yourself right now real hard, and you want that to heal right now, later. That response mechanism must be there now, not later. You may eat and get it again later for the next time that you're going to eat it, but not for right now. Considerations are this: the existing tissues have been stressed in your body. Let's total this up. Excuse me one second. Let's total this up. Let's take a look at the considerations. You've stressed the existing tissues in the body. You've got new tissues that are going to be formed. That's 2 costs. You've got the reserves need to be replenished. That's 3 costs. You've got the energy that you just put out, plus the energy that needs to form all these new tissues, plus the energy to put the reserves in place. You understand? There's a cost here. Now, if you're exercising on a steady basis all the time, and you're not measuring the results, and you're not seeing the results, what's happening? Is it stress or is it benefit?
Stress.
It's stress. Compulsive exercising for your endorphins or whatever, because I like it, go ahead. Just keep eating that cheesecake while you're doing it, because you might as well enjoy it while you're here. Because you're going to bring yourself to a short end. My family did. I started to realize a long time ago that eating habits are handed down, generation to generation to generation. When I changed my family's eating habits, I changed what I lived like. I changed what I performed like. I have not been to medical doctors most all of my life, unless it was a broken bone, and then I went to my vet or my chiropractor and got it set. Seriously. I will go to a veterinarian before I go to an MD. I have several MDs that I take care of their families. Roger can tell you. Jason knows, right? Several renowned people in Tucson that I work with their families. There's no difference in human performance in getting a sick person well or an average athlete to a higher level. The only difference is intensity, focus, and concentration. What we're lacking in today's world is a lot of things. So let's talk about this for a moment, and then we'll get on to your questions. We have our spirit. That's where the life is, in the blood. Okay? The electrical system. We're an electrical chemical being. Okay? The spirit is the electrical force field. The legal definition is the animating force. Now, you know how the ionic state works? You have the protons and neutrons and the electrons flying around? That's electrical. When you bring two foods together that work, they spin faster. When you bring two foods together that don't work, it goes slower. You've diminished your energy. It's not woo-woo. It's really an electrical force that you can measure, and it goes down. Okay? So the spirit is our life force. And in our energy system and in our true spirit is where our true drives and desires are. Our true drives and desires are in the spirit of a man. That's what drives him. Okay? Then you go on to the nutrients, the chemical nutrients. The chemicals we're made up of were renewable if desired. But our bodies are the least maintained, and it's kept alive by the spirit. Our body and the electrical stays in there, but it gets up or down. We have more energy or less energy. We're more vibrant or less vibrant. Why can't we hook this energy up with ourselves and understand it as a force? Here's a big one. Oh, my massage therapist says I'm doing so well and she's doing so good for me. And I was using magnets to get that pain out of there. Fool. Fool. If you were already had an injury and you didn't have the materials to keep the force field up and be resistant, now you're going to use something to force your body and your electrical spirit field to go faster? Where's your electrolytes? Where are they? Where does a physical therapist ever ask you, hey, how much protein are you getting and do you have any electrolytes? Did you ever see him do that? No. Let me share something with you right now. If you go to bed at night, your body turns to cell level and you're working the hardest, when do you need the most moisture and the most electrolytes? At night when you go to bed. Jason will tell you one of the things we do is we thin out the blood with some vitamin C and equal parts bioflavonoids. We take a mineral to get everything across the cell wall. We take 16 to 20 ounces of water with electrolytes when you go to bed. Amazing how you wake up the next day and you feel better. It's just what the body dictates. You won't be taught that in school, ladies and gentlemen, but you'll get it in my book. This book right here, I'm here to tell you, will blow away everything you've been taught about exercises, and it's self-evident. Is there anything that I've said today that isn't just common? Last thing, the mind. Don't go by your thinking. Go by what the body dictates. The mind is the liar justifier. It's the rationale. Doesn't work. Take what is self-evident, common sense, and truthful and use it. Okay? Questions? Anybody with questions?
What's in the book today?
Pardon me?
How much is the book today?
Pardon me?
Price of the book today?
Price of the book today is $30. If you want me to sign it, I'll, bar it up in the front. And you can go on Amazon and get it. And the next book will be Healing Without Exception, the manufacturer's handbook for sustainable health. Because without exception, this stuff has worked. Jason can tell you, never seen it fail. Roger, see, it's not anything I've done. This is all just what the body dictates. Yes?
In cases that patients have extreme adrenal fatigue, do you approach it differently? What's
Yes,
your thoughts
yes,
on that?
there's a way we start. I have 8 steps. You ready to write this down? They're the keys to success. And this is the key to success. I'm going to give it to you right here. Number 1, remove the problematic causes. 1, remove problematic causes. If you're going to keep doing canola oil, caffeine, nicotine, carbonated beverages, if you're going to eat that crap, if you're going to eat stuff like sandwich meats and all the rest, forget it. Until you stop those, you know how everybody goes to a cleanse? Oh, we got to get them well. We got to start with a cleanse. Wrong. Wrong. Why cleanse a system until you stop the input of the bad? You're only going to neutralize it. So when I work with somebody, I charge them enough to make sure they get the point, okay? I fire people. Jason will tell you. I fired 2 out of 10 clients in the first 2 weeks. And I'm going to raise that up. Why? Because if you're not going to listen, I don't have time. I want somebody who's, I want to make a difference when I leave this place. When I get that dirt bath, I want to have left tomorrow. Okay? So, you remove the problematic cause. Then you cleanse the system. That does not take bentonite clay and all this other stuff. Garbage. Okay? You can do it very easily with herb tinctures. So you remove the problematic cause, then you cleanse the system. Number 3, you correct the pH balance. How do you do it? By adding minerals and unpasteurized apple cider vinegar and getting enough adequate, complete protein in vegetables. So then you correct the pH. Then, after you correct the pH, you add minerals first, complete. Then you add vitamins. Because we're not going to trust the food, are we? If someone's giving you their life, don't you owe them to really do what you need to do? By the way, if you'll go on YouTube and watch my medical oath, you'll see that I nail the standard medical profession down that they're practicing malpractice. Okay, so first it's remove the problematic cause, cleanse the system, correct the pH, add minerals, then vitamins. Now, next you want proteins. Proteins and then fats after proteins. Proteins meaning complete. Okay, and I will prove with anyone how their incomplete proteins won't work. They'll work, but you will not get what you need for very long, very quickly. It takes too much work. Yes?
Do you agree that egg whites are complete protein?
Egg white, why wouldn't you use the complete egg? God made the chicken so he's going to harness, right? No, everything that's good is in the yolk. And people who eat egg whites are gravely mistaken. Again, hello, do you ever see a coyote spit out the yolk when he eats it? You know, I go out and I hunt predators all the time, and I used to be a hunter, and I don't do that much anymore. And I hunt bears and lions, and I track them on foot. Okay? And every time I tell people, every time I catch a coyote or a bobcat out in the wild, and they had a rabbit, they'd be down behind the bush cooking them. Not. And we feed dogs and cats cooked food. Give me a break. Oh, well, they're domesticated. Yeah. And you are constipated mentally. Okay. Yes?
Sorry, Bernie, I might have to leave in a minute. Can you take plastic today?
No, I can't, but I'll tell you what, we'll work something out. Jason knows you can get here, whatever, we'll work something out.
All right.
Or whatever we'll do. I'll work something out for you. Questions, though? I want to answer questions. Yes?
Did you say 6 protein and fat? What's number 8 step?
8, carbs.
Carbs.
By carbs, I mean this. The best carbohydrates are these.
Okay.
Vegetable carbohydrates. Vegetable carbohydrates are the best, especially if you do that with diabetics. Then after that is fruit, then after that is grain, and most of the grains we eat today, I eat spinach pasta. Yes, it's so processed, you might as well eat sugar. When I work with my diabetics, and Roger's a diabetic, we can give them a potato that's raw, and it gets a certain blood sugar curve. If we give it to them steamed, it's much higher arc. If we give them a baked potato, you're better off to eat white table sugar than baked potato. The more you heat it, the more you delete it. The more you shouldn't eat it. Yes, go ahead.
Would that be experienced with healing or rehabbing like structural damages?
Structural damages are no
Injury or-
problem. Most bones can be starting to knit within 10 days to 14 days. I've had to do knees with Terry Francona and different people. I had a fellow who came to me, Jason didn't tell you, was in a stroke, 9 years in a wheelchair. He went to Gaylord and Emory universities and went to the best rehab centers. In 6 weeks, he got up and walked out of the gym with a 4-prong cane after 9.5 years. I used electrical muscle stim. I had him feed himself up for 3 months prior to. He had a special diet for 3 months. We got him leaned out. We got his body nutrified. We then used electrical muscle stim. Then we went to light types of exercise. And in 6 weeks, the man walked. See, here's the thing. We are limited in our beliefs. Remember what Einstein said. The only thing that hinders my learning is my education. See, when I was a kid, I want you to write this word down, impossible. Write impossible down right now. Impossible. Bert's impossible. It's impossible because he came from white trash. He was worse than trailer trash. Bert's parents were drug addicts. Bert was in the juvenile system for all his life. Bert went to Vietnam. He was a murderer over there. He was a soldier, a killer. Bert's impossible. Now take and put an apostrophe beside the I. On top. Put an apostrophe. Now what does it say? I'm possible. All of you can be Einstein tomorrow. Let me tell you about IQ. IQ is limited by your imagination. Einstein said imagination is greater than knowledge. You see, it's through imagination and through our spirit and wanting to do something that things come to us. Okay? And that's how things happen. I mean, if you're going to be a doctor, be a doctor. But if you're going to be a healer, get in touch with the spiritual things, and look what indigenous people do in indigenous. It's how I got well. It's how I got well. Okay? You've got to be about higher things. When people come to me and they have terminal disease, it's just between all of us, I ask them, the first question is, so who haven't you forgiven? And their jaw hits the ground. And when you have a house, and it has 5 rooms in it, and it needs 100 volts to function, and in one of the rooms you hold on to things and you don't like it, so that room doesn't get 20 volts like the rest, it gets 35. And the other room only gets 5. We're unrested, we're imbalanced. Our electrical force field isn't working. We don't take in the nutrients we have. See, we were given eating laws from the beginning of time. I believe we all came from 2. Isn't it funny that everything that I say works, no matter what continent you're from, what race you think you're from, because see, I don't see a race difference. I don't see any of this stuff between any of us. I see it all as a human being and a spirit, a physical body. Your eyes work for the same reason mine do. Your liver works for the same reason mine does. Your liver works for the same. So I should treat that differently because of your blood type? Give me a break. It's more important to know what sort of man has the disease than what sort of disease the man has. Questions? Yes?
Complete proteins, examples.
Eggs, but don't fry them. Because when you heat the yolk too hot, it's bad. So I soft boil. Eggs, fish. You want an example of what diet does? In Alaska, there's 2 brown bears. One is the Alaskan coastal brown bear, and the other one's the grizzly bear. You'll never find a grizzly bear on the coast, and you'll never find a coastal bear in the inland. What do you think the difference is? Food. One gets all the kelp and minerals from the sea, and all this fish protein and fat. They don't get diabetes, by the way, because you're not eating all these grain carbs and all the rest of the processed food. And the other one gets more protein. I've raised 2 pups out of a litter, 2 cats out of a litter, and done the same thing with them. By the way, I didn't feed them food out of a bag, and the ones that got the higher complete protein did better. You know why pork is supposedly not so bad? Look at the amino acid profile. It's not as efficient as lamb. Way different. And when you have incomplete proteins, there's one limiting amino acid called L-methionine. If a vegetarian were to take massive amounts of L-methionine, it would help, but they're still getting too many calories and not enough protein, and their body's working too hard to get the result. When I work with people and they're sick, my job is to get them well as quickly as I can. When I work with an athlete, it's to increase their performance as quickly as I can. Not what I want to do, what they ask for. When you get out of yourself, and you become selfless, and you're willing to always put your patient first, and you're willing always to hear your patient, then you become a healer. Until you become selfless, healing is not something you will learn. You have to be not selfish. Questions? Yes?
So is pork not as good as eggs?
Pork is not as good as egg. Right. See, there are preferences. Remember, do you think I have people not have a beer once in a while or a coffee? You think I'm going to go without a sweet roll? Wrong. But it's the exception, not the rule. The exception, not the rule. I mean, I could build a program to perfection. Who's going to follow it? So in my book, I built the ideal buy-in. You can buy in where you want. And it happens, and the testimonies and so on are in there. Other questions? Yes?
How do you work with a vegetarian?
How do I work with a vegetarian? First, by changing their thinking. Okay? Fish is a brain food. I buy them a shark. Okay, no. What I do with a vegetarian is this. I find out if they will at least do egg protein, then I will get them on egg protein. If they will not, then I have them buy pure L-amino acids. They are not cheap. When you get pure L-amino acids, and I can get the pure L-amino acids so that it absorbs fast, then I can get the more results. I work with 2 of the best naturopaths in the world. One mixed all my foods, all my proteins, and when we did the test, they all gained about 8 pounds of muscle in 6 weeks. I lost 16 pounds of muscle. During the next 6 weeks, they did it my way, and they took pure L-amino acids, and they tripled their results. When they should have gotten the best results at the beginning when we first started. It's not that it can't work. It's not that it doesn't work. It's that it's not as efficient if you really want to get there quickly. And why do you want to take in all those types of other carbohydrates? What is it for you? It's a proven fact that that diabetes is a product of excess carbohydrates. There's a balance. I'm not saying that you can't live like that. I'm saying what level do you want to be at? What level? Yes?
What about quinoa? Is that not a complete protein?
It's a complete protein, but yeah, so is soy. But the amino acid profile is so small in L-methionine, it's worthless. But you're going to get all the carbs to store right here and right here. We don't live in a balanced world anymore. We live in an imbalanced world. Any other questions? By the way, I'd be glad to come back or answer any other questions. You guys are in Tucson looking me up. I want to thank you all for the privilege.